Yes, Etsy family. I'm not gonna lie to you. I feel like Etsy's been like some kind of drama, some Netflix series where some new episode, some kind of thing is gonna be happening every single week. But on this video, I want to be talking about an update that Etsy has brought out and something that they're launched already. I'm not sure if you've seen it, but I'm gonna go through it really quickly. I think it's a positive thing. I think it's something that is definitely it breaks the norm of a lot of the kind of I guess, negative news that we've been hearing lately about scams, about suspensions, sellers being shut down, and all of that kind of madness that's been happening for a while lately. And I feel like this is a bit of good news. I would love to know what your thoughts are on it. But let me show you real quick. Look, check this out. I'm on the value added resource, which gives a lot of news and updates, especially on Etsy. And as you can see, it says Etsy launches community newsletter. Now, I'm not sure if you've seen this already, but it did come out the beginning of January, and literally what they've done is they've introduced a newsletter, right? A community newsletter. Now, this is interesting. It's an interesting move from Etsy because, as you know, we had the sort of sellers forum, community forum, and before it was quite public, right? It was public. Anyone can sort of read through the threads. And then they kind of made it into a private community. And, you know, a lot of people were saying like, what's going on? You know, they're trying to stop people from talking to each other, from communicating and that kind of thing. And, you know, there was a lot of negativity surrounding that. I feel like, you know, it's an interesting move by Etsy where they've introduced this newsletter, right? And I guess they're saying as well that they want to sort of encourage support and communication for Etsy sellers. So it's almost like, you know, as they've realized what's happening. They've realized the sort of backlash by Etsy sellers. They've realized that people are not happy, and they've kind of maybe done something to like appease people and maybe, you know, trying to shift and maybe bring about more of that community spirit. But let's have a look at this. So this is sort of a section from the newsletter. It says, happy 2025. It's hard to believe the new year is already upon us, no matter your goals for this year. Whether you're just starting out and aiming for your first sale, looking to transition your Etsy shop from a side hustle to a full-time gig, working to expand your product line, or shooting for a record-breaking year of sales, having a community to support and encourage you is key. This year, we'll be providing you with the more ways than ever to connect and learn from each other, as well as our team here at Etsy, right? So this came out in the newsletter, right? I'll show you the newsletter in a minute. But basically, the things that they want to include in these newsletters are things like, you know, virtual events and workshops where people can kind of talk and listen to industry experts about, you know, what's happening. And, you know, I think that's a good thing. I think communication, especially in the Etsy world, is absolutely key, especially for newbies, new sellers who kind of really want to learn stuff, you know, and get practical, real advice. So monthly virtual events and workshops, something called Evolving Etsy Up. Etsy Up is expanding, looking forward to more diverse programming, including seller-led discussions, showcasing your expertise and so on. More seller meetups. We're continuing in our in-person meetups in cities worldwide, creating opportunities for sellers to connect face-to-face with each other and with Etsy staff. That's interesting. And yeah, so they've dropped the newsletter. So the newsletter looks like this. You can actually access it yourself. If you go to announcements, the announcements section, and you can just find it there. It's literally go to Etsy, go to announcements, and you'll see these newsletters that are sort of that are updated, and it will give you the date in the corner, just like it has here. I'm going to show you one, like I said, in a second. But you know, in terms of how this has come out. If you remember, you know, Etsy did they made the community forum private, and, you know, there was a sort of decision to go a bit, to have things more private, if you like. And I think that was maybe a reaction from a lot of the sort of scamming that was happening on the for Etsy sellers. And they kind of wanted to kind of sort of protect the Etsy sellers. But I think also it kind of went a bit over the top, you know, having the community forum private was, I think, maybe a step too far. But yeah, let's jump into the community newsletter. I really wanted to show you what it looks like and what you can expect to see from it, because I think it's quite good. I think there's obviously things they can improve on, but I think it's a good start. I think it's a step in the right direction for sure. But let's have a look at it. Okay, so what you'll do is you'll find these newsletters under Etsy community, Etsy forums, and then under announcements. You'll see a lot of these and updated newsletters that will appear there. This one's dated January the 9th. But obviously there are other ones there, and then you can see this is what the newsletter will look like. Now, obviously they're introducing it here because obviously it's the first one that's come out. But like I said, there are other ones, later ones that you'll see. And generally, this is going to be the sort of look of it, where what they're trying to do is they're trying to pack in as much information as they can, where they're talking about various things that are happening, whether it be events, some interesting programs that are happening. So this is some information about community events that are happening in the year. This one is about maybe connecting with other people around the world. I know that they've got something where they've connected with Etsy sellers from Germany, Berlin. Again, these are some images of people that are sort of meeting up, connecting face to face around the world with Etsy staff. This is some lives that they've got, or some sort of workshops that they have got, which is called Etsio. So SEO advice and tips. And you can see that they're saying join us on the 28th for search tips and live listing critiques. So again, what they're doing is they're doing lots of events and workshops trying to help, sellers, and having some events where people can connect, right? And then coming down, share your listings in the forum by January 15th for an opportunity to have your listing critiqued during a event. So you can actually have your listings looked at and critiqued, which is interesting. Again, let's have a look. Kirsty from Etsy's shop uses SMART goals to keep her on track throughout the year. So stories, information on Etsy sellers. They're also going to be talking about some other bits and pieces. So I want to show you also very quickly the latest one, the 23rd one, very quickly now. And here's some information on the 23rd of January one, where you got see these kind of Etsy SEO search tip and listing events that are happening 1 p.m. 28th. And again, it includes some experts, tax season. So some information for US sellers for filing their taxes. And again, interesting, supporting our community, meeting sellers in Berlin, which I mentioned. Look at this one. I mean, to be honest with you, it's pretty cool stuff. I mean, stuff that I would love to look at and even be part of, to be fair. So I like it. I mean, let's just be real, let's call it what it is. When things go bad or they're wrong, we call it. And when things are sort of, are good, I think this is a good step for sure. Look at this. Get inspired, meet Beam, the floral paper artist behind Blooms and Beam. That's really cool. It's nice stories, of sellers. Look, Everly Jewelry. Get to know Shuang, the self-taught jewelry designer, and what makes her shop unique. Hear her story. People want to listen to stories of sellers, and especially ones that are doing well, have profitable, what they're doing, maybe inspiring other sellers, getting ideas. So definitely something that is, I think, definitely something that could work. That I think that's definitely a good step. Right. Let me know your thoughts on this. I definitely think there's a lot of work that Etsy can do to also, help sellers. I think communication, like I keep saying, is a big factor in terms of sellers wanting to communicate, with maybe support team, things like that. That has to improve. But I mean, newsletter like this that has information, that has tips, that has workshops, events, that has ways of connecting with other Etsy sellers, ways of listening to their stories, how they did well. I think that's a good step. That's a very good step. But as always, I think there's a lot of work to do still. But this is definitely a step in the right direction. Let me know your thoughts. Drop a comment below, and I'll see you on the next one.